Fallout New Vegas allows you to become whatever you want. You can be the Courier. You can be a member of Caesar's Legion. You can be a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, the Great Khans, the NCR, anyone. You can be whoever you want in that game. And the game will allow it. You can spec your character to be the greatest deadly assassin, the world's most charming pacifist, and much, much more. Which begs the question, could you beat Fallout New Vegas as Agent 47 from the hit game Hitman? Well, that is what we intend to find out today. So, allow me to go over a couple of rules. Rule number 1, you are not allowed to use any armor. You must wear a suit at all times. There is an exception a couple of times, and I will get to that a little bit later on in the video. The other rule, any weapon is allowed. 47 is a master of the arms. He can use any weapon, be that explosives, pistols, melee, anything. Now, originally, another rule was I had to play the Mr. House ending. That is actually going to change, and I'll explain later in the video. And the final rule is I cannot be a bad person, but I can't be good either. I have to stay neutral for the entire game. So, after waking up, after being shot by Benny, as usually happens, I took a little bit longer when creating 47. It took me a while, but I think I did quite a good job. Now I will go over the special stats that I've chosen for myself. A 4 in strength, so I can use basically any weapon. And I've got a carry capacity, which is pretty good. Perception of 8, which I would assume 47 would have, because he's got Hitman vision. He can see things from very, very far away. Endurance of 7, I gave myself endurance of 7 because I'm not going to be able to wear any armor, which means I'm going to take a lot of damage, as you will see. Charisma of 1, because you just don't need to put any points into charisma in this game. It's just a fact. Intelligence of 9, I gave myself 9 instead of 10, because I didn't want to give myself 10, because even though 47 is a very smart person, he's not Einstein. He's not as smart as you would think. Agility of 6 and luck of 5. Skills was pretty easy. Guns, sneak, and lockpick. I am going to be using guns a lot. Sneaking is going to be my preferred method of doing things, and lockpick is just there because usually you can lockpick. Now, I didn't choose any traits this time because I didn't think any of the traits would either help or not help me with this 47 build, so I didn't choose any traits. After leaving Doc Mitchell's house, I headed to Chat's store to sell the armor and a couple of extra bits I'd stolen from Doc Mitchell's house. But while I was there, I came across the .22 silenced pistol, which would be very good for me, seeing as I'm a silent assassin. So I bought the pistol and a couple of rounds for the gun. From here, I left Good Springs and made my way to Prim, as you usually would if you're following the main quest. Now, I'm doing the main quest I'm following the main quest line to a certain point, because in every Hitman game, you would have to follow bits of information to find your target. Our target being Benny, I needed to go to all the places where I could get evidence. As I entered the town, I was attacked by 2 convicts who didn't do a lot of damage to me, frankly, and the .22 silenced pistol took them out relatively easily, really. I rescued Beagle from them, and he gave me the information on where to go next. On my way to the Mojave Outpost, I leveled up. I was up to level 2. I put some points into guns. I put the other points into lockpick, and I was able to choose my first perk. I chose the Confirmed Bachelor perk, which would be coming in helpful a bit later on down the line. After that, I did make my way to the Mojave Outpost, and I spoke to Ranger Ghost, who gave me a quest to go and check out Nipton. Which is why I had to go through Nipton to get to Novak, so I thought 2 birds, 1 stone, get some more XP. I made my way to Nipton and found the Legion had burnt the city to the ground, and all of the people there were, well, nailed to crosses. After this, I reported back to Ranger Ghost, and I leveled up 1 more time. Now I was going to make my way to Novak, where I would meet Manny Vegas, where he would give me more information on where to find Benny. Me having to go to Boulder City. Now, with Manny Vegas, there are 3 ways you can get the information out of him. Well, 4 ways you can get the information out of him. Number 1, you can kill him, just find it. Number 2, you can do the quest he asks you to do, come fly with me, which you have to deal with the ghouls at the Retcon test flight site. Number 3 is the computer in his room. You can hack into it and find the information. But number 4 involves the perk Confirmed Bachelor. Now, it's not stated, but Manny Vegas is a gay character in Fallout New Vegas. There are a few things that you can see evidence to this, but I'm not going to go into that now. Anyway, you can use the Confirmed Bachelor perk to actually get the information out of him, and he'll give you the information without you having to do the quest. He will then ask you to do the quest. I said yes, but I didn't actually do it, because there was no point in me doing it. And so with that, I headed to Boulder City, where the NCR and the Great Khans would be in the middle of a fight. The Great Khans had captured a couple NCR troops and were keeping them hostage. I offered Lieutenant Moron help, and I went in there to settle the matter. I saw Jessup. Jessup and his mate are the 2 people who were with Benny when I was shot in the Good Spring Cemetery. After I passed a speech check, I was able to get the NCR hostages freed, and the Great Khans were also allowed to leave as well. Jessup gave me Benny's golden lighter, which would be the last bit of evidence I would need when it came time to confront Benny at the tops. I made my way to Camp McCarran. Now, you would think, why would I make my way to Camp McCarran if I was going to the Strip? Well, I didn't have the 2,000 caps at the time, and there's a way to get into Vegas without me having to, do that. Unfortunately, here is the part of the run where the exception to the rule of armor is going to come into play. As you know, in Fallout New Vegas, there are different factions in New Vegas. You've got the Brotherhood of Steel, the Great Khans, Caesar's Legion, and the NCR. And if you put the armor on of any one of those factions, you will become disguised as one of those factions. And I would need to get onto the monorail. The only way to get onto the monorail is I have to be part of the NCR, or I have to steal disguise and be a disguised person as the NCR. And it does actually work quite well for the Agent 47 run, because if you remember in the Hitman games, you would have to change disguises to get to different parts of areas. So if you wanted to have high security, you'd need to steal a disguise that would allow you to get to the security room. So this actually works quite well for the run. The only rule I gave myself is as soon as I'd got off the monorail, I had to take the armor off. The armor is literally just to get me in and out of one place. Victor met me as soon as I entered out of the tram station, and from there I went straight to the tops, where I would speak to Swank. I'm pretty sure that's his name, Swank. And I showed him all the evidence I had about Benny. I passed a couple speech checks, and he agreed to let me look at Benny's room. I went up to Benny's room, and of course you see Yes Man in the back room. With this new information, I went down back to Swank and told him what I'd found, and me and Swank agreed that I could kill Benny in his room, which would be a lot easier for me than me having to fucking travel all over the fucking map to get to the fucking fort to get the platinum chip back. And from there, I went from Benny's room with the platinum chip to the Lucky 38 to finally meet Mr. House. Now, as I originally said, I was going to do the Mr. House ending run until a small problem came up. Originally I was going to do the Mr. House ending run, but I remembered that I would have to destroy the Brotherhood of Steel with Mr. House. There's no way you can't speech check them like you can with the NCR or Caesar's Legion. So, instead of doing Mr. House's ending, I chose Yes Man's ending because it is the most neutral ending you can possibly do, seeing as I am a neutral character, not good, not evil. I'm just there to do a job, I've gotten paid. So as soon as Mr. House had finished showing me the Securitron 2s and the little light show he does, I took the platinum chip back and I went to the side room where you take the elevator down to find the chamber where Mr. House is actually living. I didn't kill him. Because I'm not doing a kill everything run. All I did is I unplugged him from the network. So he's literally just going to stand in that basement until eventually he dies of whatever he'll die of. After that, I went and got Yes Man and plugged him into the control center at the Lucky 38. And then you go and have to do the bloody meeting of the tribes. So that is meeting the Brotherhood of Steel, the Omerators, the Boomers, the Khans, and the White Glove Society. Which I did. I left all of them alone. I didn't do any of their missions because I didn't give a damn. And that was it. After that, I then returned to Yes Man, where he then had told me to go to the power station. Well, I would need to install the module at the station, which would allow him to have control over the power. So, I did it, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to complete the run. From there, I went back to the Lucky 38 and told Yes Man I was ready to commence the final battle of Hoover Dam. There, I was spawned in with a Securitron. Me and the Securitron would then have to fight our way. Well, I say fight. Me and the Securitron made our way to the dam's control center, where I plugged in Yes Man, allowing him to have full control. Because I didn't go to the fort and activate the rest of the bots, I would actually have to destroy a little bit of the dam. So that sort of ended the same way it did. I blew up a bit of the dam, the NCR weren't that happy. I escaped with my life. And then I made my way to the Legate's camp, which would be the final thing I would have to deal with. Now, this was a legitimately hard enough fight, even on normal difficulty. Because my original intention was to cheese the fight by running up to him and doing the 100 speech check thing. And then that'd be it. Unfortunately for me, my planning of this run hadn't gone smoother than I'd liked. I was about 10 points off the speech of 100, and I had nothing else I could use to boost myself up. So, with that in mind, I loaded a save back to when I just entered the Legate's camp, went back out again to where the Securitrons had killed a couple of legionaries, and I found a couple of anti-material rifles. And you could probably guess what I did. I started sniping off the Legion soldiers before I spoke to the Legate. And then I shot the Legate in the head a couple times. Now, this took me at least 6 attempts to do it. I finally managed to kill him. I had more health than I'd had on the other attempts, and I went towards the gate. Here is where Oliver would arrive with his, his fucking NCR Rangers, who would be all happy with me because I'd killed legions of, the Legion. And I just said to him, no, this is not your dam anymore, this is mine. He wasn't too happy, and he turned on me. At this point, I ran for cover because I couldn't be bothered. And the Securitrons took care of the rest. And that was it. After that, the Securitrons dealt with the NCR, and I had won the game. I'd finished the game as Agent 47, meaning yes, it is possible to beat Fallout New Vegas as Agent 47. I do hope you've enjoyed this Can You Beat Fallout New Vegas video. If you have any suggestions of another Can You Beat run for Fallout 3 or New Vegas, or even Skyrim or Oblivion, put them down in the comments and I will have a look. But I do hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.